Alright, this is my most useful video I've ever made. And it does have 800 views, which for me is a lot of views, but let's see, how old is it? From 2009. Okay, and I didn't make a big deal repeating this over and over, but this is something that you guys need. Now, in terms of confidence and conveying confidence, you see, when I've changed career before, I often have just gone, okay, we'll give up my authority and everything, just start over. I like to do that. I like to do things the hard way. I like to go to a particular place, and I'm willing to, advertise myself as an opportunity. But the problem is that if you have a high skill set and you don't take authority, then it becomes difficult to actually use the authority. Like, for example, I found on a team, if you're just a trusted member of a team, great, you can get your designs in there. It's all by consensus the way it should be, and that's good. But then how do people off that team know when you're talking about the team's plans that you're speaking accurately? I mean, they might be able, like members of your team, to see, oh, he's got good ideas, and so that doesn't mean they're going to happen. So you need to go ahead and have the authority. So I'm also taking the authority of this. This is 5 levels that explain something everybody gets. Seems to be in an error in anything that has to do with the will, which is a lot of things in these topics. Okay, so first of all, the first principle, that these are ordered, right? They're ordered in a dependency level. Okay, so the first bottom fundamental thing in my epistemology is that perceptions happen to us, right? Now, the perceptions are happening to us. We're able to do things with the perceptions. Now we have perceptions. So what do we get? What do we get? We get a subjective, a solipsistic, let's say, model of perceptual patterns. How we, as subjective agents, think these things happen. And some of the patterns, some of the perceptions are of us doing things, of us willing. And how does that pattern work? We have our own, personal solipsistic model. I'm calling it solipsistic because at this point, we're still very, very low in our epistemology. We have perceptions, right? And then we have a theory of how they work. Okay. Then, on top of that pattern, we see the pattern, and from the pattern, we can define material facts. So perceptions that relate to a particular kind of phenomena that we're going to identify as material. And so we have a model of materialism. Okay, but we're still from a solipsistic point of view. So I exist, I know this as the thing perceiving. It's true by definition more than knowledge, right? Where we're like, I have this experience, I'm going to name the thing that's happening, then, me. Okay. It would be circular analytically, but it's not, because we've got a brain, and for us, we start with the perceptions. So then we get this model of materialism. Then using that model of materialism, we have a model of how we perceive, a material model of perception. Okay, so here's where we start to have the cycle. We have perceptions. Now we think we have a model of perceptions. We can explain how perceptions happen using a material model for it, a physical model. That our eyes exist, their physical retina, the rods and cones and the brain, and that's our material model of how perception's happening. Now, it's important to remember we haven't answered the hard problem of consciousness, which is to explain why the perceptions happen to us. We just have an explanation of sort of how they happen to us, possibly one angle on why. Okay, but it's inherently in the direction of third person. See, the materialistic model gives us a notion of objects, of other things, and then we have a materialistic model of perception. Okay, and then on top of that, we build this idea of a self as a third person agency. At this point, we think of ourselves as an agent, but really we're modeling the agency of others at this level. And our idea of our own agency at this level is that we are an object in the world. We're looking at ourselves as though we're outside of ourselves, watching ourselves and explaining it. Okay, so this top level of self, this top level concept of self, you know, it it's an extra concept. Our fundamental one, to have this concept of self requires that we've acknowledged that perceptions are happening to us, and so these turn out to be two different views of self that we need, and it's arguable that we need it because we're social animals, right? We have to grant agency to our relatives. So, and though we have this epistemological isolation, because of this materialistic model, we can look at ourselves and others and see relations like DNA and brains, and doctors can work on us though they've never met us before because of our similarities with other human beings, right? So, okay, yeah, so I'm going to talk about this stack, and I I have to mention that you guys just didn't get it. This stuff is simple, and it, you don't get it.